My in-laws are involved in a cult and are now moving to Nigeria?
God wills it.
And there is a trigger warning for religious manipulation and cult-like practices. My wife's parents and 2 sisters have often been more prominent in our lives than my side of the family, especially since our son was born in 2016. My mother-in-law was fighting cancer while my wife was pregnant, which included her doing chemo in the early months of his life. During all of this, she was there, helping and loving him, saying her goal was just to be his nana. By the way, this comes from here. Hold this. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKstorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Riley.
I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. OP says, right after my son was born, my father-in-law began to experience heart issues and had to undergo emergency heart surgery.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa, that's a lot going on for you, OP. He was essentially a cheeseburger from passing.
Huh?
Oh, because he had heart issues from probably eating unhealthily. So he was gonna have a heart attack from not eating.
Dude,
well.
I thought this was like...
I thought that was a new metric system.
I thought it
Cheeseburger
was
away.
like a vegetable thing when people are called that.
Oh.
I was like, cheeseburger?
I thought they were just using cheeseburger as a metric. During recovering, my wife would bring our weeks-old son to see him in the hospital. My father-in-law only wanted to see 2 people, his own father and Greg. Greg is my sister-in-law and brother-in-law's pastor. He met my parents-in-law at my sister-in-law's wedding a year before. At the rehearsal dinner, my wife and I were sat at a separate table, while Greg was sat with the rest of the immediate family at the main table. At the time, this bothered me, and in hindsight, it was the writing on the wall. Greg was obsessed with them. He wanted nothing more than to get them to go to his new church, which was held in his father's house.
Oh.
Despite his efforts to gain favor with the parents, he never said a word past introduction to my wife and me. My sister-in-law and brother-in-law met at the church that Greg split off from to create his church. Oh, so Greg left his church and was like, I'm starting something new, guys. It's gonna be crazy.
Money,
and everyone
money,
has to
money.
pay me $100 a month.
Money, money, money. My parents were involved in a pastor doing some sketchy things behind the scenes.
Not good. He was
They were not in. They just saw it happen. They did not help him.
My parents were involved in the sketchy stuff with him.
No.
He was the youth pastor, so majority of his congregation was under 25. The church members constituted a majority of the wedding party, and Greg married them. Presumably, he didn't marry them.
He was like,
yeah.
Say your IDs.
He wore snakeskin cowboy boots, which I will never get over. Post-heart surgery, my father-in-law was never the same. He had always been the most quiet, conscientious man I had ever met. Now he was dancing, laughing, and talking more than I had seen him do in 5+ years. Whoa. This, of course, was associated with a heavy interest in making it to every church event. My mother-in-law went with him, having just experienced a face-to-face encounter with her mortality as well. It started off simple, complete with all of a non-denominational church's charms and tropes, something I had experienced multiple times throughout my childhood. My wife and her youngest sister went a couple of times to test the waters and concluded that although the people were nice, it just wasn't for them.
Okay.
But when you attend the church and then don't come back, you get a Facebook message from the pastor's wife asking where you are and telling you how much they missed you.
That could be sweet.
We miss you. Come back.
The we miss you or we missed having you. Great. Where were you?
Why couldn't you make it? The youngest sister would get this message every week, accompanied by father-in-law constantly pressing her to come with them because she still lived with them. At the time, it creeped her out, and she would only go occasionally to lessen the pressure. I was personally never invited, which always confused me. A hallmark of non-denominational Christian churches is the supposed widespread appeal to non-believers, which creates an imperative to bring as many guests as possible, especially the most lost people you know.
It is a very evangelist-based church. A lot of, that's kind of like their
whole
angle.
thing.
Yeah.
It was never a foregone conclusion that anyone was a wasted cause, except apparently for me, and to a lesser degree, my wife. My son would go with Nana and Grandpa to church every Sunday while my wife and I worked. One day, my wife's youngest sister appropriately was freaked out about something that had been going on at the church.
Oh boy.
I honestly would not allow my child to go to a church that I hadn't gone to.
Yeah, agreed.
I think that you should know what's going on in that church and what they're teaching.
Also, I've never seen the word pray at all in this story.
Oh.
No one has prayed a single word.
All of the congregation purportedly has gifts, prophecy.
Oh, okay.
Like powers, prophecy through God speaking directly, healing, interpretation, prophetic dreaming, exorcism, prayer, speaking in tongues, etc. One guy just knows like a couple languages and he's like, whoa,
He knows Latin.
it's God. Yeah, someone's like, he knows Latin.
Speaking in tongues thing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that happen.
But it seems like they're all like, everyone gets a power. And this one guy who's already, I'm just saying, he probably already knows a couple languages.
He knows
Oh, yeah.
parcel tongue. They're like, what is that?
Well,
They're like, what is that?
the tongues thing, I've seen it happen before, and like, there's literally no one knows what language it is.
Well, but then,
It's not even a mix of language. It's just like no one knows what it is.
is that just not speaking gibberish?
Oh, you could compare it to that.
Like if I just started going, would that not be?
I'm just gonna get vulnerable here.
This guy's spitting
vulnerable.
facts. This guy's
Like,
spitting
that's
stuff.
Crazy.
At one point, I was praying, and
Yeah.
I did speak in tongues. I spoke something. Don't know what it was. It did not feel like it was through me, but I spoke something that was not English. But it felt like the right thing. It felt like it was the right thing to say in the moment, but it wasn't like actual words, if that makes sense.
I don't know. As
Yeah.
two people who went to Catholic school in this room,
No, it was I was like, what just happened to me? I was very freaked out by it
Take
too.
your word for it.
It took a little bit for me. But the problem that I have with this story, not the gifts,
Yeah.
is just like, I can see the manipulation from a mile away. That's about
Well,
to
yeah,
happen. It-
very clear manipulation.
But that's me being
That's Raz's
vulnerable.
experience.
Take with that what you want.
I'm scared now.
Just take with that what you want.
Scared now, and I'm the guy with ghosts. I don't know.
These concepts really aren't uncommon to these kinds of churches. The girl who can astral project had a spiritual encounter with a few witches in a coven in a nearby town.
What is
Oh.
this? What?
Wait,
What?
actually, what is that? What is astral project?
It's like when you have your spirit go somewhere else.
To the spirit, like the spirit
It's like, so
world,
like if
the
I'm
spirit
here,
plane.
I could spiritually be at your house.
Okay.
Which
Because
is-
I've astral projected.
Which is actually, that's a very big thing, and especially since they said Nigeria, it's a
Yeah.
very big thing in like
it's,
African
yeah,
culture.
in different cultures, you can have that.
Okay.
Or that's like a thing. She helped all of them find Christ while communing with them in the spirit realm. It was later revealed to her that the other members of the coven found out and unalived them.
What is this story? This is a gnarly story.
What? You read that correctly.
No, I didn't. Could you read that one more time?
Is this happening in like
So
Africa, or is this happening? 'Cause
I
it
have
said
no
it mentioned
idea.
Nigeria.
But I don't think they've left to Nigeria yet.
Where
Maybe
It
they're
seems
from
like what we
Nigeria.
have so far is this girl, one of the girls in the church who has the power to astral project, supposedly, found a couple witches
yeah.
in a spiritual
She
encounter.
found a coven.
Yeah, she found a coven and helped some of those witches find Christ. And then the other witches in the coven unalived them.
I feel like I'm reading the Old Testament right now.
Okay.
What?
Greg, instead of stopping this insanity in its tracks, decided to run with it.
Oh, dude. Okay. So,
I also don't even believe that happened.
okay.
Do we have any proof that anyone has passed away?
That guy said it. It
Yeah,
happened.
she's like,
that
no,
guy said
I
it
was,
happened.
I was spiritually there and I could feel their souls leaving their bodies. No one's met these witches.
You just gotta have faith.
She literally, it seems like she had a dream about witches.
Perhaps. Also, if you are a Christian and you actually love God and Jesus, the second something like that happens, you stop it. You say, we're going to the police. We're taking consequences.
Yeah. Yeah. If
You're
you
not-
actually think that someone has been unalived,
Yeah. You're going to write a report.
Ming Ming says there's death in this story. I don't think this is true.
I that's
I think
wild.
she is lying. This is when the church began to have their weekly gift meetings and spiritual warfare became central. Yeah, to be clear, she has not actually witnessed an unaliving. She
Yeah.
saw it in her spirit realm, to be clear.
She saw it in her mind's eye.
In her mind's eye. They would request to burn items containing pagan imagery they found in our house while babysitting. God also told Greg to make my father-in-law an elder in the church. Since they were spending so much time at church, my in-laws began to become more neglectful to their dogs.
I'm going to have to intervene again. My pastor back in Tennessee that I
Mhm.
love dearly, and I find him to be an actual man of God, and a so-called, he's actually a man of God,
Mhm.
always goes to see his dog. He actually leaves events early
Right there.
so many times to be
Yeah.
like, I gotta go
He's
take care
like-
of Baxter.
He's halfway through. He's halfway through the
sermon?
sermon. He's like, my dog.
He
I
has.
gotta go."
He
And I
has
love
done that.
You
Yeah.
gotta take care of your dog.
He's like, oh, I gotta go check on him real quick.
In doing so, the younger dog began to lash out and misbehave. Why did my father-in-law think this was happening? She was possessed by a demon, of course. I immediately began to notice these kinds of assumptions were being made about our immediate family. Any counterpoints I offered about witches and demons were just confirmation that in my agnosticism, I was a tool of doubt for the enemy.
Tool of doubt.
Who's the enemy? Who's the enemy?
Non-believers.
Ugh.
I have a soapbox to go on. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay, when we get to the update. At this point, we felt uncomfortable letting our son go with them on Sundays, which coincided with my mother-in-law letting on that watching my son at church was getting in the way of her experience. She's like, I actually, more than happy for your son to not come anymore.
That
Because we're
That-
going crazy.
that also shows you that these people, it's more of a cult than actually following Jesus, because
They're not even trying to evangelize the son anymore.
they're not, because
They've got prime real estate with a young kid.
yeah, they always say the youth of tomorrow is the youth of is the future of today. Like you have to, invest in them and want them to be better. If you're saying I don't want to worship with your kid anymore,
I mean, it makes things easier for you because you're able to get him out of there.
good.
But
that is
again, don't let your kids just, go anywhere without checking on where they're going.
at least check the church website. Do at least
Honestly,
do that.
I honestly, personally would not. I wouldn't mind if we were going to like church on a Christmas. I'm no longer religious, but if like my
Yeah.
my dad was like, hey, like, can we take the kid
Yeah,
to
yeah,
church
yeah.
on Christmas or whatever? I'd be like,
Easter.
yeah.
Respect.
Because I know, the church, I know my parents, blah, blah, blah. But
This is
if I didn't know the church, I'd be like, let me check it out first. I want to see what they're teaching here.
you walk into
Yeah.
this. Could you
Yeah.
imagine?
The youngest sister met a boy at the youth group. She had never had a boyfriend despite being one of the most amazing girls I know. So she began going to the church to see the boy every chance she got. Almost immediately, we went from hanging out with her every day to only seeing her in passing. Seemingly overnight, she had an entirely new group of friends. We were completely socially alienated as far as recreational time was concerned. They always remained cordial. We were invited to all family events. My mother-in-law babysat our son every day for a few hours, overlapping with our shifts. And occasionally, the sister would watch him so mother-in-law could prepare for the Tuesday night church meeting. Other than these three things, all other spare time was dedicated wholly to the church, despite the fact that we rent a house across the street from them.
Yeah.
Wow, you guys are right next to them and they're just not even home ever?
Which is also crazy, because another thing that the Bible says is to rest.
It's true, they're never resting.
And if you're not resting, making a church, because like churches do, you got your small groups, you got your events, you got your if they're not in the actual church. I've been a part of churches where we're like in a school gym and we have to set up and de-set up chairs, and it's like it takes a lot of time out. And if they're like an elder of a church, I know that pastor is using father-in-law so much.
Oh, yeah.
Free labor.
I mean, the thing is that father-in-law and mother-in-law were in an incredibly vulnerable state because they went through, this moment where they thought that they were going to pass away, or at least the
Yeah.
father-in-law thought he was going to pass away. And so when you're in that vulnerable state, it's really easy for people to prey on you, especially with religious,
the children and elders. Watch out.
This period was riddled with rumors of exorcisms in the basement of the church. My in-laws let a young girl move in with them who was apparently spicy, sleepily active with her boyfriend. The church tried to exorcise her and failed, resulting in her being excommunicated. She had a Jezebel spirit. We eventually ran into her brother, who also attended while he was working at a local Walmart. He looked worried when he saw us and begged us not to tell anyone where he was.
What?
This is scary.
You can't even work a job?
This is scary. It was prophesized that my sister-in-law and her husband would adopt from Nigeria, to the point they even had a specific boy picked out in the prophecy. Eventually, this led them to traveling there to meet him in the form of a missions trip. You're trying to kidnap a boy from Nigeria?
Does he want to go?
While in Nigeria, they held a massive revival ceremony where supposedly thousands of Nigerians gathered to hear the Americans speak.
Okay.
Feels super weird.
I have, like, my pastor's done, like, revivals where he goes to, like, another country and, like,
Yeah.
speaks.
I don't trust these guys.
Yeah, no.
My brother-in-law told me he healed a blind man while he was there.
Oh, my,
I don't
okay.
believe you.
Dude,
You're not
Jesus.
They got to meet the boy they were supposed to adopt and found out it wasn't easy for an American to adopt from Nigeria, as it requires a minimum of 1 year of residency in the country. They
Yeah,
made connections. Yeah, you can't just steal this little boy.
And guess what? If the big man above actually wanted you to happen, he would have aligned it to happen. Like, there's a friend of mine. He's from the Ukraine, and it was a very minimal chance of him coming to Ukraine because he was very young male. And they were like, your visa's probably not going to happen. But, like, they prayed, tried again. And he came to America and made it happen. Like, God made a way. This just feels like people are forcing so many things to happen. It's driving me mad.
They made connections with local pastors and set the groundwork for a return. Shortly after returning to the U.S., they found out they were pregnant with a child of their own. They gave birth to my beautiful nephew and, at least verbally to me and my wife, lost interest in adoption.
No.
Wait, your in-laws just had a kid?
Brother-in-law, sister-in-law.
Oh, okay. Because they, yeah, right.
You can't tell, as Americans, you can't tell this kid, we're going to take you home.
Well, I don't even think they could take him. I think they were like, we want that kid. And Nigeria Adoption Agency was like, no.
No, that's not how it works.
And they were like, well, joke's on you because we are having a kid ourselves. And they were like, okay.
I feel bad for the boy. Well, it's probably best that the boy didn't come.
I don't even know if they like that went anywhere though, you know?
But they picked him out and the boy was probably like, oh my gosh, yay.
Eventually, my wife's youngest sister found out the boy from the church she was dating was a total D-bag, playing the field with all the church girls. Did he get an exorcism? After they broke up, she still remained fully dedicated to the church. She ended up moving out of her parents' house in an apartment with a girl in the congregation. This girl would now be in attendance at all of our future family holiday gatherings, regardless of my objections. My parents-in-law were now spending more time at church than at home, and due to our reaction to the witch saga, they were all now keeping church details secret from us. At one point, it came out that my mother-in-law had been saying she loves God more than her grandson. The church family had also been elevated higher than worldly family. As a devout Christian, this is something more or less commanded of you. I was well aware of this concept, but had never experienced it firsthand. I had especially never thought I'd see a child of mine be depreciated by it. She went from using the prospect of being Nana to my son, to survive cancer, to favoring her church family and God over that very same grandson in the span of a little over 2 years. So when she was trying to like fight cancer, she was like, I'm going to use my grandson to get through this. And then it's like, I don't know.
Like I do love God. It's like God family than this, but like God doesn't say don't take your grandson to church and love me only.
It just feels like
or abandon them.
You got a false idol here.
It does not add up at all.
Around this same time, she quit her nursing career abruptly. At this point, I began to watch sermons from their church Facebook page to see if my concerns were true, that Greg is a manipulator. In the opening of the sermon, Greg says something to the effect of, Lord, may only your words come through me.
You're literally...
he's the voice of God, guys.
You're like, Jesus coming here, whatever. It didn't really mean anything. I am the voice of truth.
I mean, he says he healed a blind person. In saying this, he is speaking for God. In the most recent sermon, Greg was praising 2 church members who had listened to God and quit their jobs for whatever his plan may be.
No!
One of them being my mother-in-law.
No!
Greg has a way of indirectly speaking directly to people. Some of you haven't been called to this yet, or were you just not listening? As I watched, I found out Greg had just returned from an independent trip to Nigeria, where he met with a governor and a few pastors. He revealed the governor was going to give the church a large plot of land to build a Christian compound for youth and ministry, and that all of the Nigerian prophecy was coming into fruition. This is so icky. I hate this.
What are they smuggling?
Mind you, years of ties later, this service is still being held in a house. When I talked to my wife about this, she let me know about an older prophecy given to Greg that she heard in the early years. Greg and the church were going to own a large portion of their local town, and it would be a factory of disciples? This is the church's ultimate goal. Oh my goodness.
This is a crazy story.
We started to realize that my in-laws were planning to go on a trip to Nigeria with the church.
They're not coming back.
We had to confront them and force them to admit it to us. Even the sisters were complicit in obstructing the truth. They were going to wait until the last minute to tell us. Early this April, they went with 11 other people from the church, most of them under 25. In fact, one girl got kicked out of her house for insisting on going and had been living with my parents-in-law. They were so welcome by the government that they stayed in the governor's mansion, had armed bodyguards, and were invited to meet the king of Nigeria, who is a Christian. It is worth noting that Nigeria is about 50-50 Muslim and Christian. The king and some governors are Christian, while the democratically elected president is Muslim. This sounds so icky, y'all. They're literally trying to
Are they starting a spiritual
collude
world?
they're trying to collude with this, church group to try and take over.
They're gathering their soldiers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, dude.
They're gathering their numbers.
They visited an orphanage, a market, a refugee camp, and the church's gifted land to anoint it, healing people along the way. In the market, they all had separate prayer lines of hundreds of people lining up to be prayed for by the American church. My mother-in-law told me people had demons resisting within them, laying down, screaming, and spasming. Even as a nurse, rabies was no longer a possible diagnosis in her mind. They safely returned, but were that much more devoted to the cause. We have suspicions that my mother-in-law is now the pastor's wife's assistant, but she hasn't told us. Every time I've seen my father-in-law since, he's been in his official church polo. Last Sunday, they told us that they plan to move to Nigeria in October for a minimum of a year, the length of time dictated by Greg to lay the groundwork for the project with 2 other couples. One of the couples is my sister and brother-in-law, along with my 9-month-old nephew. No. I was finally completely forthcoming with them about what I've seen from the church, and my mother-in-law finally said it to my face. She loves God more than my son. My father-in-law continuously tried to use coincidences regarding his health problems as justification for their steadfastness, even citing a low-hanging fruit prophecy about the girl at church shared about him surviving his heart complications to serve the future ministry.
This is such a hard story to hear, for me to hear.
Because they suck. These people are so deep into their cult and so deeply manipulated.
It sucks because I know people that have gone out, helped plant churches in different countries, and prayed and had spiritual healing and all this stuff. But just the way this church is going about it, it's just, I don't even know what to say. It just feels very wrong.
I just want to know their ultimate goal.
Well, they said they would just want to take over the town, basically.
Take over Nigeria, dude. They got the president and the king side of things. Oh my gosh.
I just found out this morning the youngest sister is waiting for God to tell her to go too. My consolation during this conversation was a promise they will come to visit often. I doubt it, because they still have elder duties in the church. That is their primary reason to return, as opposed to seeing her grandson grow up. I honestly feel like you need to cut contact, or you already have limited contact, but I feel like as they go down this road, I don't think this is a relationship that you can keep having. Over the past few days, we've done a lot of research on the religious violence going on in Nigeria while watching the latest sermons on Facebook. In the latest sermon, the word Nigeria was central on the TV behind the pulpit. It was rife with specifically vague inferences of personal duty to the cause, de-elevation of earthly family, and a strong delivery of the claim of how important their church family is. We found out they're not just getting land, they're getting one of the biggest plots of land in the Nigerian state. We also found out that King adopted the girl who was forbidden by her parents to go on the trip. She is in her early 20s.
Dude, there is some business scheme happening, and they're using the religious,
really scary,
church front to make it happen.
The interesting thing about the Muslim on Christian violence there is that it is primarily perpetrated by a Muslim nomadic tribe. The land the tribe would use for livestock is rapidly being given away by the government, causing resentment and the possible unaliving of those who live on the land. This raises some questions. Why would the government give the Americans one of the largest plots of land in the state? There are plenty of Nigerian churches there. Why aren't they good enough? Greg's church is American, but they are certainly not wealthy. What do they offer the largest growing Christian country in the world? And I'd love it if you could offer us your ears so that you can listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to the story. Yikes.
So here's my thought. If these people were actually Christians, there wouldn't be things of, I love God more than my grandson. That wouldn't be a thing because the grandson would be great. They wouldn't be this guy being I only speak for God. There wouldn't be all these hypocritical things. But since they're following one guy that has a plan, it makes me think that there's
I mean, it's a
like,
cult.
it's a cult. It's like a business thing happened in Nigeria.
I
that's
just
what
think
it
when
feels
you
like.
start inventing your own aspects of Christianity and you have one guy in power who's telling you everything that you need to do,
Dude,
you know,
and like, you're not supposed to unalive people. That's not what. It just feels so wrong on so many levels. And dude, I'm gonna go on my soapbox. The biggest reason Jesus came to earth, in my belief, all the people that had religious pride, he was checking them. Like, he talked to a lot to the Pharisees and was like, hey, what are you doing? Like, you're not actually loving people. You're holding people to rules, and you need to love people more than saying you're not worthy enough because you don't follow these rules. And that just kind of feels like this. It feels like they're spreading business ventures rather than love.
absolutely. We can't change their minds. The more we argue, the more biblically adversarial we become in their eyes. Watching the sermons ourselves, this is 100% by design. My in-laws have an impressive resume of medicated ailments, including but not limited to heart disease, cancer, and multiple sclerosis, which upon research is exacerbated by heat. So they're going to Nigeria? They won't have access to any expensive medications without insurance or quality healthcare opportunities in general. They're leaving this problem up to God. They want to leave us their house, which they stopped taking care of years ago. The house is an hour away from my great job. And there is an update. Just tell them no.
What is happening? This is
I think this is the final update, folks. The youngest sister confirmed God told her to go and that they have been hiding their plans from us for a couple of months at least. I also want to clarify that my wife, our son, and I aren't the only members of the immediate family not involved in the church. And that's the end.
I will check for an update.
Yeah, I mean, at that
That's
point,
gnarly.
OP, there unfortunately is nothing you can do when people are so deeply entrenched in this type of fanaticism.
They can't see reality.
No.
And it's, this is what God told me, and that's like the highest authority in their minds.
Yeah.
If they actually read their Bibles rather than listen to some dude at the pulpit, they'd know what the truth is. But they let the pastor do their thinking for them instead of them actually doing their thinking. That's what I have trouble with a lot of Christians and a lot of people that claim to be Christian. It's like, what is your actual thoughts on this? Have you actually read it?
A lot of times, no.
I gotta stop myself with this. Is this another cult story?
I don't think so.
No update on this story. It's just
Story's 7 years old.
It's 7 years old.
Hooey.
Goodness, wow.
Yeah, the thing is, people never think that they will, that they are the ones that are going to be pulled into a cult. No one thinks that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Until they're on a
and
Jim
then
Crow
you're in a- yeah.
documentary.
And then you're,
You're like, oh no,
in a cult.
I was in a cult this whole time. My boyfriend's mother refused to let us share a room together.
Sleepover!
My 23 female boyfriend, 23 male, will be graduating college in a couple of months. His mom, 39 female, wanted to plan a graduation trip for him. By the way, this comes from Throwaway 4920, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/okstorytime subreddit. And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. So let us know what you know in the comments down below. Opie says, for context, my boyfriend doesn't have the best relationship with his mom. They rarely see each other, although my boyfriend and I live 5 minutes away from her. From everything he has told me, there was a lot of bad parenting when he was a child, and his whole family is low contact with her decision. Now to the issue. She planned a trip with her boyfriend, his 2 kids, my boyfriend's sister, and obviously my boyfriend to another country. Told my boyfriend that he could invite me if he wanted to, but I would have to pay for my own expenses, which I don't mind. She will be paying for my boyfriend's trip. My boyfriend had no say in where the trip was going, and his mother said we are not allowed to room together. Okay, I would be rooming with his sister, 14 female, and her boyfriend's daughter, 10 female, while my boyfriend will be rooming with her boyfriend's son, 14 male. We're staying in an all-inclusive resort, but I feel like I'm only going to be there to babysit.
At that point, the thing is, like, she's not paying for you, so she doesn't really have a say about what you do. But because she's paying for the boyfriend or your boyfriend, I feel like she has some say about what he does.
Half say.
I think that you should just not go.
Yeah. If there's even the hint of you babysitting,
Yeah.
you don't want to do that.
Don't go.
Even my boyfriend mentioned he was scared his mom would just force him to babysit the kids. I'm also worried something might happen to one of the kids if they fall, get hurt, or wander off, and I'd had to be blamed for it, since it feels like she wants us to take care of them. My boyfriend says I can pay for my own room, but he doesn't think his mom will let him room with me. I also don't want to stay alone in a room in a foreign country, but I know this is going to cause issues with his mom. In the end, I told him I wouldn't go unless we room together, but he's upset since he wants me to go. Am I the a-hole?
I don't think that's at all the a-hole. I think that you've said your conditions. You said, I can't go unless we room together. He says you can't room together, so then you can't go.
I want to go.
It's as simple as that. I think that's it.
Yeah.
There's no issues here.
Keon, would you go? No.
Yeah, I'm going on my own trip.
Yeah.
There we go.
If I'm
That's an easy no.
spending money
Oh, yeah.
to go on a trip, then let's go on a trip where I don't have to babysit and I don't have rules.
Yeah, this is no longer a trip, Like, I want to enjoy my trip.
Commenter 1, why don't you and your boyfriend just pay for your own room? Hope he says, right? This is the exact point I brought up. From what he's told me, she's set on a solid no, even if him and I split the cost for the room.
Because then she wouldn't pay for the, resort. Wait,
Is that
what
a
is she
religious
paying
thing?
for?
She's paying for the resort, the trips.
Yeah,
Paying for his way.
I'm assuming that she's paying for extra stuff. But if she's just paying for the room in the resort,
Yeah,
then
I think that's what it is.
yeah, she's just saying you can't.
Commenter 2, I also don't want to stay alone in a room in a foreign country unless you're in a really violent or increasingly backwards and misogynist country like the USA. Normally, that wouldn't be a problem. However, I wouldn't go at all with a family like that. Hope he says, you're probably right about that. I've never been to this country, and she won't tell us the name of the resort, so I have no idea where we would be staying. I'm assuming it's nice, but I'd rather be pleasantly surprised than assuming. They've also mentioned that they don't want to stay in the resort the whole time. Okay, another comment says, Commenter 3, not the a-hole. Don't go. Very simple. Don't go. Don't negotiate. It will only turn into more issues with his mom, and then you will be the bad guy soon. Your boyfriend doesn't seem strong enough to stand up to her, so it's very likely you will be blamed. No need to object yourself to this. Save your money from another vacation. Really, don't start arguing. Simply don't go. And rethink the wisdom of involvement with a man who apparently can't separate from his mom, even though he doesn't like her. Opie says, yeah, this is what I've been thinking about all day, but he doesn't see it like that. In his head, he has no say since she's paying for him. And we got an update 2 days later.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's easier if you don't go.
Oh, yeah.
She does have a say because she is paying for him. It doesn't quite make sense because you've already talked about, oh, well then why don't, you just pay or I just pay for this room and then we share it.
Yeah. Also, I know for a fact if OP goes, mom's going to find something wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, you're folding your laundry like that?
Yeah, you're just going to get criticized. You're going to be a babysitter.
If they won't let you in the same room, you're going to wear a bathing suit. You're just going to have a problem with it.
Don't make sense.
This is the first update I've ever done, so I'm hoping I'm doing this right. First of all, thank you all for the advice. The day I posted this, I had a conversation with my boyfriend that snowballed into the worst fight we've ever had.
Uh-oh.
I didn't like the part where he was like, you need to come with me.
Yeah, where she was like, hey, like, it's either we stay in a room together and I'm not going to go. And he's like, no, you have to come. Just yeah, you probably will have to babysit the kids. It's fine.
You're my happiness and you can't be without me.
Come on.
He accused me of trying to convince him not to go on the trip, which isn't something I had ever brought up. He even said he wants to go since it's a free trip to a country he's never been to. He did end up telling me that his mom said no to us rooming together for the following reasons. 1, we aren't married. Neither are her and her boyfriend.
Interesting.
2, we're too young. 3, because I said so.
See, that's a
my
explanation
favorite one.
you can't use after like 12.
Yeah.
I feel like once you're a full-fledged adult, like 18, once you hit
certainly
yeah,
can't use it then.
Yeah, because I said so is like,
Come on.
What?
So infantilizing.
I'm not freaking 4.
I'm not freaking 3,
and then
Mom.
and then you just respond with, oh, why don't you want to go? Because I said so.
Because yeah. Why do you need to go? Because I want to.
It's so good using parents' logic back on them.
Yeah, just give them right back their own medicine.
I spoke to my boyfriend last night. Turns out some of you that suggested she might be helping him with money were correct. She took out loans to help pay for his schooling. They're all under her name, but if she stops paying, he feels responsible for them. I also think she was helping him out with grocery money since he's part-time, so she's pretty much holding all of this over his head.
Of course she is.
That's over
She
his
wants,
head.
I mean, like, it seems like he doesn't have a good relationship with her. Probably because she's incredibly controlling and she wants to keep him around for as long as she can. And this is the way to do it.
As the boyfriend, just go on the trip and babysit. Pay your dues, man.
I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I was
Even
gonna say it's over his
No.
head, not over my head, kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Even as the
Exactly.
boyfriend, you want to go?
Oh, is the boyfriend?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think the boyfriend should still go.
Yeah.
He's gonna be spending time with his family.
Mm-hmm.
Those are his siblings he's
Come on, dude.
babysitting.
He did end up asking her if he was going to babysit, and she answered the next day at 8 a.m., "Stop being so negative. Good night." He told me how childish and immature she is, but the truth is, I don't want to spend my life battling his mom. He promised me that I wouldn't, and that things would change when he graduates, but I'll believe it when I see it. Part of the reason I'm even contemplating going is because I want to see what I'm signing up for, and if he's willing to stick up for me. If he isn't, then we're done. I won't waste years of my life on someone that can't defend me.
I feel like maybe we're making a little bit of a rash decision
For
here
Really?
to break up.
I don't know.
I think breaking up is a pretty big thing.
Yes, in this scenario.
I think it could be super reasonable, but I would want to I would want to see if we could work through this one issue.
Still give it a chance.
Yeah.
Would you give it a chance still, Keon?
I'm on thin ice. Like,
Yeah, I agree. I think thin ice is fair.
Would you go on the trip to see if you could?
Heck no.
Because he's gonna be under her thumb the whole time.
No trip.
Especially if this is the dynamic that we're starting going into the trip. You know how you go into a trip is like,
You know he's not going to be on your side.
yeah, I wouldn't do that.
I don't think the boyfriend will ever stand up to his mom because it's hard to turn it down.
That's
for money.
true. I mean, he's only 23, so it's not like. But
23 and still.
I think it totally could be the other way of him always taking his mom's side over you.
Yeah, well, that's hey, cowboy up. If you're going to be living under your mom's, I guess, tyranny where she's having money over your head, maybe stop having that, giving her that power.
Yeah.
He did tell her that if I were to go, then I would book my own room reservation. My idea, since I don't want any surprises. She's now telling him he's blowing things out of proportion. They're supposed to talk tonight, and he's pretty angry about the whole situation, so I'll let you know how it goes. Commenter 1 says he did tell her that if I were to go, then I would book my own room reservation. If you go and have to pay for your own trip, you are allowed to do whatever the F you want. The fact is, she's mad at both of you because you want your own room kind of proves that you were right thinking you were invited to babysit only. I wouldn't go, not even to see what's what. You will only be miserable and will now associate that country with that experience.
Yeah, don't ruin the entire country. It's terrible. You'll never be able to go back to that country
You'll
again.
hate Switzerland forever.
It's like someone's like, hey, you want to go like I'm thinking about a Switzerland trip, and you're like, no. God, no, I can't ever go back to Switzerland.
Hey,
And
they
they were
got-
like, why? I had to babysit.
Hey, they got
I didn't get to see the country.
Yeah, they got a new Swiss restaurant. You want to come check it out?
No, don't make me look after your kids. Oh, sorry. What did you say?
Oh, Opie says, I agree. I think she confirmed that I was only going to take care of the kids. She just gave my boyfriend the name of the resort. I looked at it and turns out that a child and a teen stay for free, but an adult has to be accompanying them in the room. It's a package, but I'm thinking that's what she wanted to do.
Absolutely what she wanted to do. She's trying to get that free room.
Leave me with the kids that they aren't.
And also, crazy thing, she won't even pay for OP. She was going to make OP pay for her kid.
Leave me with the kids that aren't paying to be there, and her boyfriend can have their own space. I haven't looked at the prices or compared it to how much she originally wanted me to give her, but I think you're right about not going.
Yes.
Part of the reason I'm contemplating about going is seeing what I'm signing up for. You don't need to go to see that you already know he won't stand up for you. That's what the point I was kind of making.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not going to stand. I mean, like, if you go, you have to babysit, and your boyfriend takes his mom's side.
This is where OP backpedals a little bit. I don't think I spoke much about my boyfriend's character. Truly the best person I've ever been with. When people say that,
Until they
Just
get
haven't
with someone
seen that
better.
Yeah, you're only 23.
yeah.
How many
They
people have
only-
you actually been with?
I was gonna say they only say that until they find someone
Yeah,
better.
best person so far.
I was gonna say, oh, like, oh, he's the best, and they're like, how many people have you dated? Just him.
Just him.
We need to have a better metric for that.
Yeah. Like, how does he compare to your friends?
Friends, I was thinking like Disney princes. Or
How
whatever.
does he compare to Prince Naveen post character
Post-frog.
development?
Who's Chris and
Kristoff?
Yes, how does he compare to Kristoff?
Kristoff's pretty great, yeah.
What about Princess and the Frog?
It's
That's
Prince
Nadine.
Naveen. I already said that one.
See, we're already on the
already
same
there.
page here.
How does he compare?
He's everything I want in a partner.
Not everything, clearly, because you want him to stand up to his mom.
You're missing a few things here. But I know you could be right about this. I want to believe that he would stand up for me if it came down to it. But I also need to be realistic and consider how the situation has been handled so far. Another comment says you were really going to waste the money to go and have your own room and still be pushed into babysitting. You know your boyfriend isn't allowed to be in your room even if you pay for it. So why are you wasting the money to go be put in the exact positions neither of you want to be in? You aren't going to get to have any alone time on this vacation. You aren't going to get long walks on the beach or snuggly time in front of the fire. You aren't going to get any sort of romantical time with your boyfriend. You both will get to be the babysitters. And why would you go to dinner alone? This is a family trip. We eat together. Yes.
Yeah. It's not, you're just not going to have time to be, as that commenter said, this is not a romantic trip.
No.
This is a family trip, and you've been hired as a babysitter, except you don't get paid.
You have to pay for it.
You have to pay to be their babysitter.
He says, yes, I would much rather spend the money on a vacation for the two of us to enjoy. He did offer to pay for half of it yesterday. I forgot to mention this in the post, but either way, we're both students, plus the money I would lose from not being at work. I know he really wants me to be there, and I want... ...
We'll never know.
What does OP want?
What does OP want?
Okay, next day. Theories?
I don't know. A lot of people in the chat saying this relationship is probably not going to last.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful that maybe the boyfriend will realize. But I hope OP does not go on this trip and that she just, does something for herself.
Keon?
I want to be hopeful, but I think somehow, some way, OP gets roped into going to the trip. Like, she's like, yeah. I feel like
Gosh. Probably. I'm just not seeing a lot of hope from the boyfriend here.
Yeah. Hope or help?
The boyfriend's character does not stand up. Like, it's not, I don't know. It's not really anything I'd be waiting around for.
Yeah, but OP's in that, like, I'm 23, I'm in love with this boy. One of the first real relationships.
Couldn't relate.
But anyway.
Unfortunately, this isn't a good update.
Oh, man. I think they broke up.
I'm now essentially unwelcome on the trip. Oh my gosh.
That's a blessing
you
in
didn't want to
disguise.
go, so...
Yeah.
OP's like, I'm not coming. They're like, well, you're not even invited anymore.
You're fired.
Yeah, I quit. You can't quit. I fired you.
I wasn't outright uninvited, but that's how I interpreted it. My boyfriend talked to his mom yesterday as planned. From what he told me, she called me ungrateful and a brat. And I am trying to make everything about myself. Said some other things I don't want to think about right now.
Why did he tell you all of that?
And why did he not say, shut up, mom?
Yeah, I just don't understand why he came to you and was like, yeah, so my mom called you ungrateful and a brat and a bunch of other nasty stuff. And instead of just saying, my mom was not receptive to our plan or our talk, he had to tell you all this stuff in detail?
She claimed I was making up excuses to get a room alone with my boyfriend, which I was not. I have no reason to lie. I asked my boyfriend about getting a separate reservation for my room like we had talked about. That's when he broke the news that she had already booked the rooms for 4 adults and 3 kids, and it's not refundable.
Sucks to suck. Didn't communicate that with OP.
I'm pretty sure she did this on purpose to try and get me to accept her terms. It might be important to mention that my boyfriend had invited me on the trip last week, and I told him I wasn't sure. I asked for a couple of days to figure out since my family member was in the hospital and we weren't sure if they were going to make it. So my priorities were elsewhere. Oh my God.
Yeah. And then you text back your boyfriend and you say, hey, I have to be here for my family member. I'm sorry, can't go. And then if he says, well, mom says you have to pay, you say, I actually never agreed to this. So I'm sorry, I can't do that.
Too bad, Suzanne.
Yeah.
She knew this and booked the reservation regardless. He started telling me how much he loved me. I'm like, is he love bombing right now?
Feels like he's like, wait, no, I know that all sounded really bad. My mama hates you, but I love you.
Yeah, he's doing the last line of defense. Like, don't worry. I love you so much.
I think you're great. I don't think you're spoiled at all. He's like, what? I think you're actually really pretty, no matter what anyone says.
I don't think you're a witch at all. She didn't call me a witch. He told me he was done with his mom and wants to go no contact when we move. And that after he graduates, things will change.
So he said.
This trip is a couple of months after he graduates. So I asked him what he was going to do. He said he was still going to go since it's a free trip to a country he's never been to before.
I then asked him what's going to change, and he said that he had to go along with what she says because she's helping him.
Helping him how?
Get the money.
Oh, in school and
Until
stuff.
he gets his own job.
Yeah, he's not gonna go against his
Like
mom.
I said, boys got cowboy up.
I think at this point now it's like we gotta end the relationship.
We already know our answer. I was trying my best to understand the situation because, although it might seem easy for me, I know there's a lot more at play. I asked him if I was uninvited, and he said no. His mom said I could go on the trip as long as I went along with what she wanted. I asked again if I could get my own room, and he said no because he doesn't want me to spend that kind of money. It's not worth it, and said that it would cause tension. Since his mom had already booked a reservation, she would lose money, so it's her way or the highway. He knew that I wouldn't go along with this, so pretty much I can't go. He might invite a friend instead, but I don't know. Last night he said that he felt like there was no winning with me unless he doesn't go on the trip. If I'm being honest, I do feel betrayed by him, still wanting to go after she disrespected me. But I'm also so tired and emotionally drained. I'm not sure if I'm valid for feeling like this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's been so much wishy-washy behavior from these people, and you just keep getting pulled into it. You made a very clear statement. You said, I can either not go on this trip or we stay in a room together if you want me to come.
Yeah,
That's
I'll
it.
get my own. Those are only two things.
Yeah.
And I don't
You could
want
have
to
said,
babysit.
hey, mom's not okay with that and she's paying for everything, so looks like it's not working.
Easy.
Love to take a trip with you another time.
And whenever, instead of saying that, she's like, spoiled. Making it all about her. Ugh. As of this morning, she has officially threatened to cut all financial support. He says he's at a point where he would rather not have her support than have to deal with this. I know the reason she's doing this is because she's mad at me, and this is her way of punishing me. I'm sorry for the long and not so positive update. I tried to include all the details that I could, but I might have forgotten some. I haven't slept in over 24 hours, so please bear with me.
Go to sleep.
And if you want to sleep with us, go to your favorite podcast platform and search up OK Storytime, and you can sleep with us right beside you on Apple, iHeartRadio, or Spotify.
You mean sleep to us?
Sleep
Sleep
next
to us.
us?
Yeah, sleep
Yeah.
next to us, whatever. We'll be right there with you while you're sleeping.
I slightly rescind. I think that if he follows through with this and goes no contact and is like, you know what, I can't take it anymore. There's too many rules. She's just a nightmare to deal with. I'm done.
Dude.
Then your relationship can continue.
I have been a part of a relationship where the family did not like me. It literally is not
Have
worth it.
fun.
Because it trickles down to you. If you're not in a position where you can literally go no contact and have no financial support or like emotional
They're
support,
always going to be involved. Yeah.
they're gonna be there. They're gonna be there at every holiday until you're like actually I'm like, as of 2 years ago, I've been separated from my parents financially and physically because I have my own place, and maybe 4 years. So it's been 20. It takes time.
Absolutely. And everyone has their own like timeline, but it seems as though this one is going a lot. It's been pushed along a little bit quicker than others.
Yeah.
And it seems like he hopefully is becoming independent. But that's the end of that story, folks.
Is there?
No update.
No update.
The only thing that I saw and I'm reading about right now, one comment from OP. This was about a month ago as well, and how everyone's like, why are you doing this? You can just spend your money somewhere else. And OP replies, yes, I would much rather spend the money on a vacation for the two of us to enjoy. He did offer to pay for half of it yesterday. I forgot to mention this in the post. That's pretty much all it is.
Okay.
Yeah. That's, again, people are just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What you doing?
Nobody likes a Debbie Downer.
Mm-mm.
Save your money and put it towards a trip that you want to do.
Yes. Go to Japan, OP.
Also, why don't you just do a trip for yourself?
Go find a, well,
Ooh.
I think OP's seemingly scared about solo traveling. But there's
Bring a
tons
friend.
of places that are perfectly safe for solo travelers. Most places in Europe, I felt incredibly safe, even when, I was with two people, but there were a couple times where I was doing like solo things. But we've got another story. I think my future mother-in-law is gonna be an issue.
You can still clock out of the relationship,
And this one comes directly from the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I, early 20s, have been engaged to my fiance, early 20s, for 3 months. I have been very happy and I love this person dearly, evidently, hence accepting the proposal. My mother-in-law-to-be is a difficult woman. I suspect she has a mood disorder and she is currently on antidepressants, but I do not consider her to willfully or knowingly be a bad person. By the way, this comes from Ambitious Expert 801, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKstorytime subreddit, and we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, my fiance is currently going through a difficult time in his life, and it is a very gray area whether it is his own fault.
What?
Okay. I believe it is unfortunate, but he did not do anything reckless or stupid. He may just be struggling with his mental health and it got out of hand. He called to tell his mom, and her first reaction was explosive and concerning. She showed no real desire to understand or help him and immediately started screaming on the phone, blaming the engagement for ruining his life and saying it was my fault. For clarification, we already lived together before he proposed, so no huge changes had occurred besides my title as his future spouse and a gorgeous ring on my finger. He insisted she was wrong, but to no avail. After about 5 days of constant back and forth between all of us, fiancé and his mother and me, even his grandmother and me, I'm tired. I feel it is unfair to be blamed for something I had no part in when I have been nothing but helpful to him.
Yeah.
He works while I am currently unable to because of my chronic condition and mental health struggles. So I do everything around the house and support him. No one makes me do this. I purely consider it fair since he provides things like gas and other expenses when I am unable to. And he takes care of me when I am too sick to care for myself. Our dynamic has always been one of unconditional mutual support and relentless attempts to understand and help each other. While I believe I have influenced his life for the better, I also admit he has helped me more than anyone ever has, excluding my mother. This has worked very well for us. I always felt my future mother-in-law didn't particularly like me, but I put it aside because he was always standing by me.
Okay, if like a mother and a parent-in-law doesn't like you,
Yeah.
but the partner's strong,
Then we're okay.
but if the partner's not,
Then we're not okay. I assumed she had issues with how young we are, even though the wedding is postponed indefinitely due to financial reasons and potential loss of health insurance benefits if we were legally married. However, after her outburst over the phone and accusations that her sweet child is changed and unrecognizable, I am seriously concerned.
I don't understand. Fun fact, tomorrow, or people watching on YouTube, we have an episode with a mother-in-law expert.
Ooh,
Tomorrow.
yeah, we should have had this one. She could have told us all about your mother-in-law.
Yeah, so I just don't understand why mother-in-laws like kind of want to marry their own kids.
It's weird. Enmeshment.
My baby boy's gone forever.
Yeah, you lose this control, and sometimes the control feels so...
You think it's a control thing?
Yeah.
Huh.
All along, she had she was shaping her son's path, and then, his early 20s, he decides to make this really big decision to get married, and she loses control. She's no longer his main family. His girlfriend is, or his fiance now.
Okay.
She is out of touch with reality when angry, accusing me of brainwashing him and teaching him to say horrible things.
Okay, yeah.
She even accused both of us of being on hard substances, though neither of us take any. I cannot drink because of my medication, and he hasn't either for the last 6 to 7 months. Well, it's not adding up. I eventually had a mental breakdown and called her to tell her that my fiance's grandma, so her mom, had told me she ruined her life, and I'm tired. She has managed to tear us apart.
What does she have anything to do with your relationship?
Well, it seems like OP told the mother-in-law.
Mom.
No.
The mother-in-law's mom.
No,
I thought.
OP told mother-in-law that grandma-in-law thought that mother-in-law ruined.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think so.
That was a very confused. That's wild. Yeah.
She proceeded to call me 9 times, but I did not answer. After a few hours, I texted her, "I'm sorry," as I felt I could have expressed my feelings better. She replied, "About what? Lying." I called to clarify what she thought I lied about, as her mother had allegedly said things she now denied saying, despite repeating them multiple times to both me and my fiancé. We ended up talking for 2 hours, during which she clarified that she does not blame me for anything. She blames her son either for being on substances or for being so in love he can't think straight, and that he just wasn't strong enough to handle the engagement. I am now in a sort of decisional limbo. I have a very difficult and traumatizing life so far, and I only wish to live in peace. He is my greatest comfort and support, but she is eating away at my mental health. He insists he will always protect me and stand by me should a definitive choice ever need to be made. He did tell her off for what she said, but she accused me again of teaching him what to say. And I'm going to teach you guys how to listen to full episodes of stories just like this All you need to do is go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. Any final thoughts?
Go no contact as soon as humanly possible.
Yeah, he needs to really cut contact if she's acting like this, because this is too much.
Yeah, and if he's a good partner, he would understand your boundaries.
Especially if he's about to marry you.
Yeah, and your
Don't
mental...
marry him if she's still in the picture.
Your mental health is at this much of a turning point with her.
Yeah.
It should be clear as day for him to be like, all right, I'm going to protect you. I want to be there for you. I understand. As long as like it's no contact with her between you and her, I think that's fine.
I do not wish for him to cut her off. I have lost a parent to no contact. What mine did was much worse, and I know how hard it is. I refuse to be the reason he struggles. I am worried she may be a big threat to our happiness in the future. Yeah. If he has never let me down in this way before, can I believe him when he says he will choose and protect me? I do not want to risk losing everything we have built just because of fear, but I am terrified of living a life with a family, particularly a mother-in-law, who has so many issues after barely making it alive and sane from my own past. Advice is welcome. Oh, man.
The only way she can not affect your life is she's not a part of it.
If she's not in it, yeah.
Do with that as you will.
I feel like you're not forcing him to go no contact with her, but that has nothing to do with you. You can go no contact with her. I feel like that's fine. If that's really going to be an issue, I think you have to have a conversation with him.
Yeah. So I don't want to talk to her. I don't want her talking to me. And you have to figure out what you're going to do with your mother-in-law, but she's not going to be part of my life.
Yeah, exactly. You can't force, again, good on you for not forcing him to be I don't want to cut him off from her, but you can cut yourself off from her.
But that is the end of this episode. So if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.